Thank you for staying with the Monday Report. Let's start the discussion on the season of politics. Is it bad manners? Is it banter among peers? That's a conversation we're having shortly here with my guest in studio. Honorable Cicely Kariuki, former Cabinet Secretary, Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, is joining us online. Thanks for making time. With me in studio is Honorable Kipruto Rapkirwa, former Agriculture Minister. Thank you for making time. And Honorable Samuel Pogisio, former Majority Leader in the Senate. Thank you all for making time. And Honorable Kariuki, I'll start with you on this. What, in your view, has led to the sharp decline in decorum and respect among political leaders during public rallies?
Thank you, Trevor, for having me online, and to my colleagues, how are you?
Hey,
good evening.
I wouldn't have made it, but yes, I am participating in this way. I think that, Trevor, a couple of things come in to explain what is happening currently. And we can put these into, say, 2 or 3 buckets. One, political bad manners of a regime that overpromises, knowing fully very well that the commitments that they are making during the campaign period are not going to be fulfilled. That's what we see. And as if that is not bad enough, when the citizens demand for accountability, we are met with a lot of animosity and a lot of pushback, because suddenly we realize we are cornered, we are overcommitted, we are under-delivering. We are diverting attention to things that don't matter. Number 2, when we are caught up with the kind of corruption that you have seen with the current regime, then the best thing we do is throw tantrums around, therefore projecting extreme bad manners. And number 3, for me, when that is happening, you overtax the very people who trusted you by a huge margin because of the commitment that you made in 2021. And when the people ask to be allowed to express themselves, they are met with a measure of force that you have not seen in this country before. That quickly deteriorates into some social bad manners to the extent that even people and families who have not been party to overcommitting. I want to make reference to the recent attackation by one Kimani Ichung'wah on the person of Pastor Dorcas, who has nothing to do with politics. She didn't go campaigning. It is her husband, the former second deputy president, who actually was on the campaign to the current president. But when you draw a woman, a family woman, a preacher of the gospel, and you bring her into the kind of bad manners that we had Kimani Ichung'wah voice, it means you're actually attacking, you brought down politics away from the substantive issues now, and you're actually now bringing social bad manners and attacking people on account of gender. And that, we as women condemn in the highest and the strongest words possible. All right. Trevor?
Honorable Pogisio, what is causing this bad manners? Emmanuel Toa earlier on was speaking to us and doing a story, and he called it an unspoken immunity, where spouses and family were left out of the political banter. But now it seems everyone is fair game. What is causing all this?
Well, Trevor, it's not just in politics. In the African, even in the art of war, even if you're fighting your enemies, you always left out the women and the children out of it. If you're really man enough, face the man and leave out the women, leave out the children. But now, cowardice is coming to play. People are so afraid of their own shadows have come into play. And so now they're attacking families, attacking women. I think the worst case, I believe that the worst case of the political cowardice is more personified by one Kimani Ichung'wah, who is actually, let me tell you, is actually the majority leader of our National Assembly. And if I were in charge of appointments for majority leader, I would have withdrawn that name by now and appointed another majority, because that's already embarrassing enough. I was majority leader in Senate. Yeah. And I would have I completely disassociated myself from a majority leader of that caliber, who would go after somebody's wife and try to embarrass that lady. By the way, not only embarrass that lady, but try to embarrass the church. Kimani Ichung'wah has claimed something you cannot believe, that maybe, you know, Dorcas is with another bishop. I mean, already you're making the church look like a child's play. Do you go to church? Do you really want to respect that church? And as though nothing has happened, we move on like he never said anything. In fact, we promote him, we encourage him, we clap for him. Kenyans are very interesting. They even clap for those kind of things. But let me tell you, the world out there has taken it not lightly, not sitting down, not lying down. You cannot. Bad manners has come into this country, and Trevor, I'm very embarrassed that there is some infatuation with displaying credible women in leadership, displaying them as if they were dance girls, as if they were models, and a politician just telling them, you know, if in the days of Sicily, she would have protested. I'm glad. How can you, Sicily, be told, okay, turn around, like a turntable. Turn around, we want to see your right, your left, we want to see your behind. All those things are very bad manners. And I want to say here, to those who do that, especially during this so-called women empowerment, it's a contradiction in terms. It's like you're in a slave market of those days ago. You know, so who wanted to buy those ladies? Who is offering, who's bidding for this lady? And that's what we are doing. And I think from now on, I like women of Kenya to say, enough is enough. Okay. Stop displaying ladies as though they were in a slave market. Okay. And so, yeah, bad manners has begun. Men, let's please respect women. These ladies, let's respect them, portray them in their true sense. They are leaders as we are. Don't underestimate them. Okay. But anyway, I just want to say that there is a way in which men in the highest levels of government have accepted this to be normal, and nobody's being held to account. Yeah. And so we need to speak about these things openly now. We respect these people. They are our leaders. They are our ladies. But please don't get into families. Okay. Nobody wants. I would not like to hear somebody speak about William Ruto's wife, Gachagwa's wife, Kalonzo, whatever. Even because let's not bring them into this disrepute. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's hold families in some kind of honor.
Out of it. All right. Honorable Kirwa, what do you think is causing all this? Because there are some people who are saying it's a reflection of who we are as a nation, immoral, indisciplined, and largely sexual.
You know, Trevor, there are a number of things that we know in terms of organizational dynamics. One of the things is that people copy from their leaders. And at the beginning of time, where beginning of time is the beginning of this regime, it was clear that it was decimating certain institutions. And once you destroy institutions that are supposed to assist in governance, you are increasingly bringing in bad manners. And we say that at that particular time, the destruction of parliament by buying members from the opposition, almost emasculating the very institution of judiciary, and also within the executive itself, making it one-man show, was the beginning of bad manners. This is a situation that nobody seems to care about what the institutions are provided to serve this particular nation. And therefore, the utterances by people like Ichung'wah and others, and of course display of ladies in such a disrespectful way, is part of that excessive bad manners, where people who, up to the other day, did not have the requisite resources are now leading in terms of empowerment of a people, using resources whose source we do not know, and also behaving as if there is no law in this society that is supposed to be respected. It is clear, Article 10 of our Constitution is supposed to give certain moral bar below which you are not supposed to engage in. And the moment we seem to want to destroy that particular article of the Constitution, we are destroying our society. And therefore, what I'm calling upon the leadership of this country, for the balance of time they are still in town, They should learn to realize that they are here today, somebody else will be there tomorrow.
Yeah. Honorable Karaoke, let me bring you back on this. There are those who believe that these are just peers engaging in political banter among themselves, and some of us are just overreacting, because we've seen even in the political rallies, some of the ladies themselves come up to the stage and say, I don't have anyone. Why don't you give me someone here? You'd expect them to protest when they are somehow objectified, and they don't. So are we simply burying our heads in the sand, that this is really who we are as a nation?
Trevor, I am not very certain that this is a representation of the society or women for that matter. And since we seem to be focusing our discussion a little bit around the social bad manners, the social bad manners, in my view, is an outcome of bad manners in the political spaces. And we know what has been happening in Parliament. And the members of Parliament have confirmed, the kind of being brought around so that you pass this law, you do things that you don't believe in. So unless and until we trace the genesis, that it is an outcome of political bad manners, which is a combination of political and economic bad manners, because some of these women would actually be happy being paraded the way we have seen, because at the end of the day, they will get away and go home with 100,000. Is this a representation of women in leadership? It is actually absolutely the opposite. Is this association of freedom as envisaged in the Constitution? Perhaps it is their interpretation. And therefore, we need to be able to separate chaff from wheat and say to this kind of women, and some of them, without naming names, have even come to the media to say, you know what, in our Ashanini, it is not about you, it's my body. I want to say here very, very loudly, it is shame on you, because you are actually projecting women as objects to be abused. And for you to parade yourself and you think you have no problem, remember that there are younger generations watching you. So I think you ought to be ashamed of the kind of image you are cutting out there. In my own county, the county of Nyandarua, and I want to say hello to my people of Nyandarua, I've heard a woman leader standing up to tell men, come and munyonye. I mean, very absolute extreme bad manners. It's on record, it goes viral. You are speaking like this to old men, you are speaking like this to young men, you are speaking like this when your daughters and younger women are watching. So it should be condemned. Back to Ishongwa, I think we are overrating and making Ishongwa a bit more important. When a dog barks around my gate, you will know that I'm around the corner. So we must come back and ask ourselves, who is going to actually, Honorable Pogisho, relieve Ishongwa of his duties? Because he must be projecting a culture that has been created from the top down. And therefore, without getting very personal with these individuals, I think is to actually call upon women of good character in the way it is defined in our culture, to be there to role model the opposite of this kind of manners we are seeing. And for you men, I really want to appreciate and thank you, Honorable Pogisho. You are saying, yeah, we need to separate wheat from chaff. Let the women who lead with integrity and moral authority and standing be allowed to be supported even when it comes to politics. So just coming in politics seems to be, the bigger majority of the people actually come in with extreme bad manners. But some of us will be teaching you a thing or two, because, we'll remain in this space and we'll be projecting that you can be in that space, and dare you then come and, attempt to do some of these things which are again supposed to slave, you're making women look like slaves around town. I think that it is a way again of pushing women who have good intentions to keep off from the political space by making it dirtier and murkier. But guess what? Women of substance will offer themselves as we move forward to come and say, there's an alternative.
Yeah. Senator Pogisho, should we take an introspect as a nation into our moral psyche? Because like you mentioned, people can talk about substance for quite a long time, but until they start speaking about sexual content, that is now when the public and the crowd rises up. They're clapping, they're laughing, and they're happy. And you need to excite the crowds. I mean, where do you draw the line? You've been in this political field. Where do you draw the line between actual substance and just excitement for the crowd?
Trevor, I think we should really be leaders. There's a difference between the crowd and the leadership. And you begin to wonder who is leading whom in this particular case. If you don't set the agenda, there'll be no clapping and there'll be no shouting, those kind of things. But when you do it and you make it look like it's an interesting subject, I was watching one of those very distinguished ladies being paraded, being told, you know, this one, if you sleep with this one, you will not wake up. Those kind of, what kind of, and that's a leader with a mother. She's a mother, she's got children, she's got family, and they're bleached. And I ask myself, how much money do you take? How much money do you take to be paraded like that? How much money do you accept? Because the people who are parading you, all they have is money. There's no character, there's nothing else. It's not like they're academics, they're just, but they will parade you because they've got money. They fly you out there. And ladies, please, if you can, leaders, you are leaders, we respect you. You are capable of transporting yourself to these places. You're capable of donating your little amount of money and keep your character. We cannot continue this way. Our young ladies, children, are looking up to you, saying, are these the people we're going to emulate? And when you see that, what they are doing, and I mean, very respectful ladies. But by the way, I'll probably resign from myself if I saw Cicely doing those kind of things, and you know, going there to show what she has. We know what you have. I mean, we can all see, but surely. So I want to come up with this point, beginning from men. We talk about men and leadership. Let's give a chance for people to believe that a woman in leadership is a leader. She's not a model for you. She's a leader for this country. And she can become president of this country. She can become deputy president of this country. She can become anything they want to become. And that's what we've been telling our daughters. I've been telling my daughters the same thing. I've been telling my daughters, you can be better than your dad. You can be better than me. But now when they look and say, is this what you're telling us to be? And please, I would like to see a situation where we do something that's called never again, or enough is enough, and let us move out of that setting. Trevor, let's bring this country to a place of respect. Every man is proud of their daughters. We have educated them, we've given them the highest level of education. Yeah. You know, and when they become something, you're proud of it. Let them not become subjects of ridicule.
Okay. And Rabkirwa, the reason why I'm pushing this is because we've seen in certain cycles where peers can have banter among themselves. Are we simply saying that this banter just shouldn't come to public? Because we've seen situations where people just are joking among themselves, and sometimes even sexual.
Well, there's something that is very important in terms of leadership. Leadership encompasses slightly more than just leading or just training or trying to coach somebody to behave like the way you do. Leadership involves a lot of mentorship. Once you are a leader, you are a mentor. People copy from you what you do, what you say, how you say it. So at the end of the day, when somebody is a leader, whether she's a woman or a man, they must rise to the occasion and realize there are millions of Kenyans who will copy from them. And therefore, if you have some kind of excessive bad manners, you are likely to allow society to feel if our leader, somebody we admire, is behaving the way she's behaving, then behaving like that is okay. That's why many homes, they go bad because the parents do not realize that whatever they are telling the children and whatever they are doing is the opposite of what they are telling their children. So the children will copy from what you do, not what you tell them. So at the end of the day, when you've been given this space called a leadership space, realize you are no longer occupying that space as a private citizen. You have become a public figure. And a public figure means your character is going to be measured slightly on higher parameters than ordinary man in the street. Yeah.
And Honorable Cecily, do you believe that the current political environment is nurturing or eroding national cohesion as we move towards 2027?
I think that it is eroding national cohesion on lines of desegregating on various variables, be it the gender lenses that we are discussing here today, be it the ethnic lenses, be it class differences. It is actually not making a great effort to be able to have a cohesive society going forward. Allow me, Trevor, as we come to close, to call upon women, decent women, as we eulogize Phoebe, a CEO, a former member of parliament and a long-standing, very dignified lady who went to be with the Lord. A good example of women that we should emulate even in the political spaces, and there are many more. But allow me to also thank the men who believe in the capacity of women being not just in corporate leadership, but also in political leadership, and therefore supporting them. And to the men, please give women a break, both in the political spaces, but also in the corporate spaces, because even in organizations, we know of cases of bad manners where women have been treated as objects. And for you, my sisters, my daughters, stand up to what is right. Don't allow yourself to be paraded and giggle around it as if you are a 15-year-old teenager. It is not right. It is wrong. Back to you, Trevor.
All right, Honorable Cecily, now that you're still on the floor, let's talk about the youth a bit. The president blamed the youth for misbehaving and parents for poor upbringing. Is this a fair assessment, or is it a diversion of deeper issues like you were alluding earlier on?
Trevor, I have actually listened to the president and the way he has reacted in this season of bad manners, and I'm failing to see one substantive, accurate position that he takes that I can be able to take home. Because when you say children, these the Gen Zers and the millennials have not been taught well, and therefore it is to say they should actually be quiet even when they are being overtaxed, when the promises of job opportunities that were to be created are not being created, when the university funding model has been abused, when we have seen opulence and corruption going through the ceiling, and when they express themselves initially peacefully until they were provoked and goons were brought their way, you are saying these children have bad manners. I completely think the opposite from where I sit, and therefore inviting the president himself to say, supposing they were actually wrong, or they didn't approach the whole thing correctly. Did he lend himself to listen to what it is we're saying? Did he not remove the budgets for which they had gone to the streets last year? And then through Article 223 of the PFM Act, bring back everything back? And that is why the budget for State House, which was one of the biggest complaints, ended up being exactly where the youth were objecting. And therefore, we will take the president very seriously when he also projects himself very, very seriously in terms of listening, but correcting the wrongs that are being put at his doorstep. Not projecting anger, not projecting arrogance, not getting his army to come and actually attack everybody around. See what happened yesterday in Muranga. People want to speak. They are not armed. And what happens? They are met with the live bullets. This is a senator of Nyandarua, Senator Medo and Karongo, and the other senator of Muranga. Their lives were at risk. Why? Because we are being silenced, being intimidated. It looks like now being in the opposition outfit is a terror kind of outfit, a terror outfit. And therefore, let the children be. Guide them, but role model good manners to them. Don't lie, because next time they're the ones who will be lying as well, Trevor.
Okay. Senator Pungisi, do you think the parents have somehow abdicated their duties?
Trevor, I really shudder to think that we can blame parents for the way the Gen Z behave. The only mistake parents have done is to give them university education and allow them to learn in their disciplines. Which parent, for example, would have taught their children about the Constitution? Which parent would have taught their children about the budget? Which parent, if the average Kenyan parent, would have taught their children about demanding accountability, I mean, these are things that you learn in the institutions of learning. All you have to do is go to a university, and you will be taught that you have to hold your leaders accountable. You need to know a balanced budget if you have to live within your means. But also, there's no parent who would like to see their children finish education and go jobless and still go depend on their parents. I'm thinking we are blaming the wrong people for this thing. Maybe we should arrest all the university lecturers. I mean, all of them. They are then responsible for the kind of things that our children have gone through. No wonder in the past, in the past, the university lecturers, bore the brunt of the security of those days, because these people are not children, and I don't know how long I have to tell you. Gen Zs, millennials, and whatever. They're no longer children. These guys have gone through university. They are very well armed with knowledge, and now the knowledge has become a problem. Bad manners comes when we tell these children, or these kids, or whatever they are called, these Gen Zs, that you are guaranteed jobs when you finish university. We will be creating hundreds of thousands of jobs, and then you find there's none for them. And when they come out to say, we are not behaving well as leaders, then we call them children, we blame their parents, and we want their parents to know that they can be punished for this. I really feel very, very bad when our educated people, people who are showing you what you should do, are being punished for it. These people are telling us that in this century, in the day of digital age, this is the way we should go. You can no longer shoot somebody and think you will not be seen. You can no longer, whatever you do today, there's coverage everywhere. And they're telling you, let's be responsible, accept to be accountable. And so I'd like to see advisors of the government of the day to say, can we have a look at all these things? Let's look at ourselves in the eyes and say, are we going in the right direction? Instead of punishing more people, and I saw the other day they are now being charged with terrorism. And I say that when the real terrorists come, what are we going to charge them with? I mean, if these are the terrorists of today, the guys with the mobile smartphone, they have an umbrella, whatever, they have water, and then they have your flag. And I've said, which terrorist carries your national flag? I mean, you got to know. Anyway, and I'm glad, the courts have dealt with this matter. So let's not push people to extreme. I'd like to see a situation where compassion enters leadership in this country. Let's deal with our citizens with compassion. They are not your enemies. Parents have nothing to do with these kids. They have given them education. And now they can think for themselves. In fact, some parents are very surprised by how these kids, how these people can hold people to account. Even the parents themselves are shocked because they didn't learn that at home. So don't blame it on the home. Blame it on the universities that they've been to.
Honorable Kirwa, do you agree with that sentiment that the parents are the ones to blame? Because the president actually came out and said the police are not trained in parenting. You take care of your children, have us upright citizens on the streets.
Well, nothing could be further from the truth, given the fact that either the president himself does not live in Kenya or is totally oblivious of what's happening in this country. What he should know is that we are dealing with a constitution, 2010, that is robust in terms of opportunity for me to make an expression of what I think of the government of the day without let. I'm also dealing with a space of improved technology. And for any improved technology in terms of communication, I ought to be given that express permission. And I'm also dealing with institutions that are teaching us on issues that appertain to good governance, to leadership, and to democracy. And good governance, of course, entails the freedom to think, to decide, and also make informed choices. And when I make that informed choice, my decision and my choice of whatever I've decided should also be respected. So for the president to make that particular statement is misadvising himself and is overshooting the runway in the sense that it is not possible to rein in. How many of them is he going to rein in? The youngest, the oldest GNC now will be in the next election will be 30 years. So the bulk of the voters are going to be GNC. Almost 80% of them are going to vote in the next general election. And that decision, therefore, will inform the results that will come out after the election. So for anybody to still blame somebody who is 27 years, who is 30 years on the parents, is actually misadvising himself. By the age of 22, by the age of 23, somebody has already decided the kind of future they want to lead. Yeah. Unless somebody has not done child psychology, and I do suspect the president because he did a bit of education in his earlier days, he should have done something to do with child psychology. And a child ceases to be a child at the age of 18. And in some countries, even at the age of 16, somebody is considered to be an adult. In Kenya today, we have a majority of these people, more than us, who are above 60, who are going to vote in the next election. Okay. And their decision must be respected by all who believe in democracy.
Okay. Honorable Cecily, can we really reverse this culture of disrespect in politics, or is this the new norm that we just must learn to live with?
From where I see it, Trevor, I think it can be reversed, and it will be reversed in doing a couple of things. One is for the few ladies in leadership, in political leadership, standing up, not to be paraded and enjoy it. Number two is role modeling to still confirm there can be good manners within the political space. Number three, it is having our colleague, the men in politics also exercising restraint and keeping their bad manners behind the banners. We are not interested in new things they can do what with who. So giving us a break and really, really becoming allies of women in leadership by protecting, the kind of language that Honorable Cohesion is talking about, he takes equal responsibility to the mother of the daughters that he's bringing up. And number three, finally, I think for me, is to come and say, what really, for you, the people who vote leaders in, do you have an equal responsibility to say, what kind of leaders are you going to be looking at for? Is it the women who enjoy being paraded around town and speaking language that is despicable? What kind of leader would that bring beyond getting into office and enjoying the political gravy train and the money that the bucks that comes with that kind of office, as opposed to actually giving you a service? So you, the voters, in 2027, have an equal responsibility to assessing the kind of leaders that really you want to vote for. And finally, is just asking for all of us who shape opinions and our thought leaders, including the church, to speak truth to power when you see these kind of manners, because it is actually going to disintegrate families. And, when we are all quiet or when we giggle and laugh about it as if it is, it is drama. It isn't. So beyond the women coming up and saying, this is bad manners, let's have opinion shapers in other spaces also speak against this. We can reclaim. It will take a bit of effort. The political leaders at the top, please learn to listen. Listen. The most important quality or attribute of a leader today is to listen. Listen. Don't talk even before you know what it is we are looking for.
Okay.
Trevor?
And as we wind up on this conversation, I'll start with you, Honorable Cohesion, so that we answer the one question that, of course, with excitement comes anger. And we've already seen part of it now. What is the best way of dealing with the current division and anger that we're seeing? It's almost like a line has been drawn in the sand, 2 term, 1 term. So somehow a lot is going on. What is the best way of dealing with that division and anger as we go into the electioneering period?
Trevor, the very interesting thing about what you just said is that there is a political divide There is the leadership in government and the leadership outside of government, and that division has to be there. So what I don't get to understand is that if I say one term, okay, you say two term, why is my one term more painful than your two term? I mean, here's a situation where you can actually agree, said, okay, I'm going to push my two term, I'm going to push my one term, and we coexist, isn't it? What is the problem if I call my friend Kipruto Arap Kirwa cousin? Why don't you find another relationship that you can throw at people? Why would it be painful to you? And I think we can coexist. Okay, we have cousins on one side. Why can't we have uncles on the other side? Why can't we have nephews on the other side? So that we don't have to have this level of acrimony so that exists in politics today. Let's keep it that way. It used to be in the period up to the 2010 Constitution. You know, we had bananas, and then we had oranges, and it is easy to coexist. Just stay with your oranges, I stay with my bananas. And let's see who gets more votes. I think that's what democracy should have been. That is really what we should be getting into as a nation. So let's not make this thing look like Kenya is at war in a sense that if I don't like your one term, if I don't like your two term, you are my enemy. And I must therefore punish you for that. I mean, that's not very good. And I think East Africa has come out, in my view, as becoming the most intolerant to opposition. And it's not just Kenya. I think this is East Africa. You go to Tanzania today, you go to Uganda today, you go to Kenya today, it looks like it's wrong to oppose what exists. And yet, this country is respected, is known to be a more democratic country. We have, I think, the best constitution you can have to survive in. So let us, I do believe that this idea of competition in a democracy, Kenya can sustain it without having to feel like if I am rejected, isn't it? Okay, so I ran for senator last in West Pokot. I didn't win. The guy, I've never had to go and fight that guy, his family, attack his children, whoever is there now today. I mean, why do we make it look like that it's a life and death? It's a life and death, and that there's an entitlement. The biggest problem with our politicians is we don't know how to deal with rejection. You know, if rejection comes your way, you don't know how to deal with it. And we don't know how to get angry without killing or whatever, punishing people. Yeah.
But there's a perception that the rejection is unjustified, that my votes were stolen.
Well, I'm saying we must accept. If rejection ends up showing the results that you are not the one who has won. So I would like, for example, to make this very clear, that this country has given us an opportunity, and the 2010 Constitution of Kenya has given an opportunity to actually coexist as this side and that side, and even several sides, without having to finish each other, without having to arrest people, without having to harass people. We can actually coexist. What you need to do is keep your policies with you, we keep ours with us, and we move that way. What's all this anger? Yeah. The other thing I'm saying is that we have a very angry country. The citizens of this country, apart from being hungry, are very angry. You go around town and you see guys, a man, a woman gets a child and can strangle a child, another one beats the wife, and all these things are happening. People are angry. Why don't we begin to look inward and say, what is it that's causing this anger in our country? Yeah. And deal with it. Okay. I think we need more social workers in this country than police. I think we need to deal with the situation in our hearts. All right. Yeah.
All right. Arap Kirwa, what is the best way of dealing with this division and anger as we head up to 2027?
Well, there are a number of issues that we need to put in place, one of which is to improve our political hygiene. Improving our political hygiene, let us not do a lot of name calling. I remember President Kibaki, for the 10 years he was the president, he never mentioned President Moi. And yet they had their own share of altercations over the period he was deputy, vice president, until he was demoted, and later on he moved to the opposition. But when he was the president, he never mentioned it. Because I was seeing even Minister Mbadi the other day trying to compare this regime with that of President Kibaki. Why should you really invite President Kibaki in his grave? You bring him back. Can we improve our political hygiene? We deal with the issues of the day. The second issue that I think is very important for us is to realize that an election is an event. And when that event does take place, it is going to produce results. There will be those who will have lost and those who will have won. And those who win does not mean that they are going to win again. And those who lose still got a chance to win another time. Look, for example, in America, President Trump came back the other day, having stayed away for 4 years, during which he had lost the election. So anybody losing the election, whether it's the president or any other particular person for that matter, should realize there is a day, another chance to fight. And therefore, let us not raise the animosity in the country. Remember, in the run-up to 2007 elections, the FM stations spent a lot of time trying to create hate among Kenyans. And the issue of 2007 election, well, has something to do with the results, but it had a lot to do with the build-up to that particular election. And also in Rwanda, the genocide that you had in Rwanda in 1994 is a product of some kind of hate that we built among our people. What we need to do is that after elections, those will have lost elections and those will have won elections are all Kenyans, and we must learn to coexist. And also the institution of what we call it, and the one dealing NCIC,
National Cohesion Integration Commission,
should be looking at both sides of the equation blindfolded. They should not be saying somebody in government can say something and get away with it, or somebody in the opposition can say something that is not tenable and get away with it. They should be actually more strict, more vigilant, to ensure that this space we create good atmosphere for coexistence.
Okay. And finally, Honorable Cecily, how do we deal with this from your perspective, this division and anger that we are seeing now?
Trevor, three things to the political leaders, the ones who are actively in the KK government and to us who are in the opposition. It is good to do exactly what Arap Kiro has said. Let us be careful that our words are not going to be fueling a movement that can ban this country. Let's be careful how we position this. The way to do it is actually to be factual. When we want to whip the emotions of crowds, let also be issues-based. And to you, the people who are sitting in office now, government, please know that there's a constitution, 2010, we all voted for, including yourselves. And if you didn't do it, then unfortunately the majority took the day. Exercise fidelity towards the constitution. Don't come up and bring some kangaroo laws of shoot on the foot and shoot on the other place and do this when people are peacefully expressing themselves. So let's express fidelity to the constitution. Tafadhali sana. For you, the journalists, and it's just been alluded to, you have a very critical role to play between now and 2027 and even beyond. Focus on factual reporting. So again, you do not whip emotions on one side or the other, but be objective in terms of projecting the facts. To you, the voter, begin weighing in on what your ideal issues-focused leader or leadership would look like. Know that you are the people who put these people in office. And so although you are struggling right now economically, socially, and otherwise, it is fair for you to start now is self-interrogation. What is your role as a voter? Because Arap Kiro and Pogisho here and Trevor, we are only four of us. Even if we speak until tomorrow, we are not going to impact how you behave with your vote. And those for you, the Gen Zs who are reasonably unhappy, really because your future is being taken away, get yourself ready. ready by making sure that you're a registered voter and you have a voter's card, and you'll be ready to exercise your democratic right at the right time. Does that mean you do not speak out? No. Please continue to speak, because that is why, you are in this position. Express yourself. Are you going to do it carefully because now there are goons who are being sent in spaces where you go even when you are peacefully demonstrating? Yes, there will be. So what that message means for you is for you to be a lot more vigilant, so that, again, you do not get caught up. And finally, it is for any person who holds any leadership position to know that we have a country to keep together. We have a country to hold together. We are 44 ethnic groupings in this country. None of us has a more equal right than the other. And therefore, because we exist now, we're going to coexist even after 2027. It is fair for you to be your sister's keeper. Right. Compete, the fair get it, the winners get it. The ones who are out, opposition, please. I am very proud to be in opposition today, because we are the people that are holding you government accountable, because you swallowed in what is envisaged in the Katiba again. You swallowed in the official opposition, and therefore there has to be an alternative, because nature abhors any vacuum.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for speaking to us this evening. Honorable Cecily Kariuki, former Cabinet Secretary, Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, Honorable Kipruta Rapkirwa, former Agriculture Minister, and Honorable Samuel Pogisio, former Majority Leader of the Senate. Thank you all for speaking to us this evening. That's where we leave it for now on the Monday Report. It's always a pleasure having you here with us. On behalf of the entire team that made this possible, we say good night and God bless.